Now that the 2010s decade is ending, which trends are the most regrettable? This isn't a prank. It's a social experiment wherein we are going to see if people get mad when we walk up to them and punch them as hard as we can. I hadn't watched reality TV for years and took a job at a university where the TV had to be on at all times and students would come in to watch. They switch on MTV and it's a half-hour prank show where they run up to people on the street and spoil the end of movies and shows that just came out. Part of my job unofficially became having everything I planned to watch next weekend ruined for me. F you, MTV. I already don't like 99% of vloggers, but family vloggers are always 1000% more annoying. They always are ridiculously hyper, post endless challenge videos, and are generally obnoxious with all the money they have. There's also that awful family gaming channel, FGTV or whatever, that got recommended to me for a day or two before it granted me mercy, and I stopped seeing it. I'm not a huge fan of Cassie Neistat, but I'd rather watch all of his videos back to back than sit through one Ace Family, Chatwins, or Shatards, if they even still make content. Video. Edit. Just throwing this in. I don't hate Cassie. Hell, he's one of the incredibly few vloggers that I don't dislike. I'm just saying I'd rather watch every single vlog he's ever uploaded than watch some poopy family vlog. There was one YouTuber who covered one of those family channels and the family was in the process from moving from their LA mansion into an even bigger LA mansion with like 15 bedrooms, a gym, an infinity pool, 6-car garage, etc. and they were having some trouble with the landscaping or something, but they were like on the verge of tears for 9 out of the 10 minutes of the video. Talking about how hard life is, and then the other 1 minute was spent plugging new merch. It's insane watching lifestyle creep in real time. Things I do not miss from my school days growing up in the UK. Getting kegged. Getting jaspered. Getting tangoed. Playing slaps. Playing penny knuckles. Card draps. Roses when you lost heads and volleys. Birthday beats. Edit. For anyone unfamiliar with any of these. Getting kegged, where someone comes up behind you and pulls your trousers down. I think Americans call it getting pantsed. Getting jaspered, when someone knees you in the thigh and gives you a dead leg. Getting tangoed, as per the video above, double slap to the face. Playing slaps, you basically just sit and take it in turn slapping each other until someone gives up. Playing penny knuckles, put your fist down on the table and flick a coin at each other until someone bleeds. We had a 2p coin at schools that someone sharpened on a grind wheel, so it made the games go very quick. Card wraps, you cut the deck, and whatever number you pick is how many times the other person hits you on the knuckles with the pack of cards. Red is with a horizontal deck, black vertical. Rose is when you lost heads and volleys, heads, and volleys is a football, soccer, game where each player can only score a goal via a header or a volley. The goalkeeper has lives and loses 1 for each goal conceded. If a player misses a shot then they are in goal. First one to lose has to bend over up against the post while everyone takes a turn at kicking the ball at their ass as hard as they can. Birthday beats, you got punched in the arm on your birthday, 1 punch for each year old you were. Astronomer here. No one asked me about the flat earth theory until just a few years ago. The fact that it's picked up again is just so astounding, if you think about it. Frankly though, it's just part of a greater trend of anti-intellectualism and the idea that you can now choose your own facts. I started posting about astronomy on Reddit because the misinformation I read annoyed the fork out of me, and most people are really appreciative to hear the truth. However, the cynic in me notes that astronomy facts very rarely affect our lives the way some other settled science can. And I know plenty of people out there are a huge fan of space and willfully ignore facts when it comes to, say, climate change, because the truth there is unpalatable and affects them more immediately. Carl Sagan said in the 90s in The Demon Haunted World that I have a foreboding of an America in my children's or grandchildren's time, when the United States is a service and information economy, when nearly all the manufacturing industries have slipped away to other countries, when awesome technological powers are in the hands of a very few, and no one representing the public interest can even grasp the issues, when the people have lost the ability to set their own agendas or knowledgeably question those in authority, when clutching our crystals and nervously consulting our horoscopes. Our critical faculties in decline, unable to distinguish between what feels good and what's true. We slide, almost without noticing, back into superstition and darkness. I think it's pretty clear this trend began in earnest in this decade, but I hope we will be able to right the ship a bit in the next one. Edit. Lots of people telling me that they don't think there are flat earthers IRL, or that it's not that big a deal. I disagree. People who get into one conspiracy theory as weird as flat earth aren't usually prone to stopping there. Second, I actually have colleagues who had a flat earther who kept coming in and threatening the astronomers in the department for their role in the conspiracy theory and making the young women students feel very uncomfortable. He kept coming back onto campus despite a ban for some time, and I'm told it was really disturbing. I'm sure many people are joking about flat earth. Unfortunately, some not in on the joke couldn't tell the difference and started listening. I took some film studies classes, and one of my profs, who was an animator and worked for Disney, Nelvana, etc., said that sequels were always a thing purely for numbers. I believe she said that sequels were guaranteed to make something like 30-40% whatever the original title did, no matter how bad they were, because people trust the original was good. So some companies she worked for would put the cheaper B/C team on direct-to-TV sequels that didn't need much design/concept work or polish, while the rest of the studio ramped up for the next original story as a way to maintain income over the years between original releases. Not sure which companies, might be neither listed, but I got the impression it was an industry trend. These are all kids movies, mind you, and kids will watch anything, so it might be related to that. Not saying it's a good thing for the properties, just that there is a reason it could be necessary. Unless you're an enormous conglomerate with bottomless pools of money destroying your own properties for short-term profit. Disney Toon Studios. For people out there that don't know them, their high point was probably a Goofy movie and an extremely goofy movie. Lion King 1 and 1/2 was also pretty good, albeit just as much a play-based redo as the OG Lion King was. They had a couple okay, but really unremarkable ones like Little Mermaid 2. A few that were unquestionably bad but still entertaining. Kronk's New Groove probably the best example. And then a lot of shovel with sequels that should never have been greenlit, like Mulan 2 or their last major work, Planes. So real question, are we sure this is a new trend? It seems more likely sequels and remakes have always been a thing, but low quality entertainment has a shorter shelf life, so we just don't remember/watch all the crappy remakes of yesteryear. Kind of like how people look back on recent generations and argue the music was better, when really only a fraction of that music, the most popular fraction, of course, is still around. The example that pops to mind is Dracula, which we've been getting film iterations of since at least 1921, probably earlier, however, as a lot of films from that era are lost. A few films stand out, but there have been over 200 films featuring Dracula. I find it really encouraging how many people now support and understand the science better as a result. Yes, anti-vaxxers found each other and other gullible people to join them with the ability to advertise their crazy talking bits on social media. But you see a lot more people who know and understand the basics of vaccines as a result as well, pushing back on them. It's also a testament to the efficacy of vaccines that just a generation or two later, that the diseases have been so removed from public memory that idiots can attack their necessity. When future historians look back on the first generation to grow up with internet access, they'll wonder why everyone started not only embracing snake oil, but actually dreaming about becoming peddlers of it. Now, when I use the term snake oil, I'm not just talking about the likes of Dr. Oz and Gwyneth Paltrow. I'm referring to anyone who dishonestly claims to be offering something worthwhile. This hasn't just been the decade of crystal-based remedies and chakra enemas. After all, we've seen everyone from so-called scientists to self-serving performers doing whatever they can to exploit any audiences that they can attract. These people don't actually care about entertaining or informing so much as they care about staying in the spotlight for long enough to get a tan. I'll give you an example. The vast majority of the videos on YouTube are shallow and formulaic, with maybe 30 seconds worth of content being stretched out to fill, at least, 10 minutes. While many people are aware of this, far more folks are content to simply sit back and stare while an overly animated caricature of a person repeats themselves for the 15th time. There's no story being told, no knowledge being shared, and no substance to speak of, but viewers trick themselves into thinking that they're having a good time, if only because real entertainment has a somewhat similar taste to the placebo sort, if you aren't really paying attention. Therein lies the crux of the problem. We don't want to pay attention. As a society, we've adopted this mindset that effort and expertise are both bad things. Anti-intellectualism runs rampant, with people actively defending it instead of looking for opportunities to improve themselves. How many writing errors do you see in a given day, do you think? How many myths do you see being repeated, and how many facts do you see being dismissed? We've become a culture that glorifies laziness and ignorance, and we try to hand-wave away any attempts at pointing them out. Worst of all, we reward the people who embody those traits. We upvote single sentence, or even single word, comments on r/askreddit. We subscribe to YouTube channels that exist for no reason other than attract views. We send the message that we'd rather embrace easy to understand lies than truths which might require a little bit of thought. We turn to charlatans who promise health and happiness, and we shun anyone who encourages us to actually make a damned effort for a change. In short, we encourage the mindset that snake oil, in whatever form it may take, is the most desirable substance on the planet, and that the people who peddle it should be applauded. There have always been lazy and ignorant individuals in the world, of course. However, this has been the first decade to give them preferential treatment.